Young Bullet says, are we still at war with Young Rippa? We're not at war with him at all. Not at all. I'm not fighting him one bit. I don't want to harm his business. What I did to clarify was I just said, I'm out of this idea that if I have to, how do I explain this? If my associating with people who he doesn't like means that I'm going to be in trouble, then I got to be out of this situation. I got to just say, look, we're not like that. Like, I'm not going to be enemies with your enemies. Okay. I'm just not. We have two different businesses here. And I think he made that clear. I said, you should be supporting other, indie comics. And he said, why would I do that? Like, Marvel and DC don't support each other. I got Rippaverse, you got All Caps, you got these companies. Why would I support? That's not what we do around here. We're different businesses. And I mean, if that's the case, cool. I mean, that's fine. I wish him well. I want him to do well, but I'm not going to be somebody who's, your enemies or my enemies. It's like, well, the very least situation, like if we're going to be like that, can you retweet some Comicsgate campaigns? If we're like that, but we're not like that. So, that's just the way it's going to be. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be like, if you're not cool with Eric, then you're not cool with me. He ain't CG. That's a quicker way of putting it. Thank you, Matt. But yeah, I wish him well. I don't want him to do badly. I want him to do fine. It's just, I had to kind of come out and say, look, yeah, like, don't expect that kind of loyalty from me. I'm not going to do that. So that's how it is. Jose M, is anyone even excited for Alpha Core? Here we go. $10 a month for a 30-minute early access. Get the fuck out. Lol, Dick Masterson's making more sense every day. All right. Well, thanks for $5 anyway. Yeah, I don't want to run down Eric July's business at all. There's competition. Those guys kind of took a shot at us, and they should, because of our bag and board issue last week. They took a kind of a veiled shot at All Caps Comics. That's fine and good. I don't want to sit there and join in, actually pulling down his business at all. That's not where I'm coming from. I will say, though, our books are good. That's all I want to say.
A lot has changed from October of 2023, back when that live stream was made. Something I've documented a lot on this channel is a conflict between Ethan Van Sciver and Eric July. This had all started because of a Yellow Flash stream where Flash decided to talk about how Dick Masterson had criticized Eric July's book.
Let me get a couple super chats here. I got another Rumble rant for 20 from Dharma. Hey, Nina, you look great as usual. Will we get to hear about your fight between you and Dick? And I don't mean your husband's. Lol.
Hi, thank you. And I don't know, depends on Flash wants to talk about it. It's his show.
I think he was probably expecting everybody to say that the book was perfect or that Dick was completely wrong, but that isn't exactly what ended up happening.
I think a lot of those notes were accurate. I read it. I might be the only one here who actually read the book when I got it. Why didn't anybody read this? Why everybody was so excited for it? People didn't read it.
Eric wasn't very happy with Ethan's criticism.
I heard you talking, Ethan, about this whole like this guy in his review or criticism was excellent. That's bullshit. We read through it ourselves. It's not excellent. It was literal lies built within it. There's one thing to be critical of something, and I'm perfectly fine with that. You've never seen me jump down anybody's throat for saying, "Hey,
what you're saying."
For example, hold on. So,
and told Ethan the next day that he wasn't defending him enough and would soon start reciprocating.
It's a tricky thing, man. It's never like, well, I'm on one guy's side. I'm on the truth side. I'm on my opinion side of things.
And I'm gonna start acting accordingly with that type of stuff as well, right? That's how I'm gonna start handling folks in this space, because now I guess the way I'm seeing it is I give people way too much the benefit of the doubt as well. So I'm gonna start maneuvering as such.
He also later sent him this text message in which he said that he was playing middle of the road with someone who was trying to publicly defame him. Eric said, "I do not use my platform to amplify narratives that go against others I'm cool with. Everybody I do shows/streams with knows not to bring up any gripes with people I'm cool with, as I will not give it the time of day. I'm going to start reciprocating on that." Let's listen to how Ethan felt after receiving that message.
It doesn't depend on kind of getting along with a lot of people in this sphere. Some people are kind of, you don't really need them. Some people are troublemakers that you don't really need, and et cetera, et cetera. But Eric July shares my audience. So I get this message from him, and it was just like basically saying, I mean, I could quote it. I might as well quote it first. Let me just see it and pull it up so I don't get it wrong. This is no fun, but it had to be done.
As he mentioned, at that time, he and Eric July shared an audience. Think of it as two people yanking on the same piece of cloth. Eventually it's going to tear, and both sides are going to lose a large portion of it, and one will keep a larger portion than the other. It makes sense he was scared because this could cause some adverse effects on his business. And recently I had time to sit down with Ethan Van Sciver, and I got to ask him a question to see if this conflict with Eric July had really negatively affected his sales. Let me play that clip now so we can hear what he has to say. So Ethan, I don't know if this is too personal of a question, but earlier he was talking about making a lot of money from Eric. Like, have you seen a negative change in your campaigns since this all started about a year ago?
I don't know. I think my campaigns do exactly what I think they're going to do all the time.
Okay.
It's like I start a campaign and like I'm so good at this. I've been doing this for a long time. I read everybody else's campaigns. It's very rare where I'm kind of disappointed or shocked by what a campaign brings in. And it's usually on behalf of someone else. Like I started warts and all, and I said it's going to make $50,000, and it ended up doing like 100.
Right.
So it's always better than I think it's going to do. I haven't noticed. I've noticed an uptick in my viewership, which is really, really cool. And when I ask people to buy things, they do. So I haven't really noticed a negative. Yeah, I mean, it could be coming. I mean, people could be like, you know what? I hate the drama. I wish this would end. But I haven't seen it happen yet. It could be on its way. And also, I just think everybody's crowdfunds are suffering right now, just in general.
Yeah, definitely. The economy is super horrible. Here, Ethan didn't really give a super direct answer as to whether or not this conflict had harmed him. He said that his campaigns are more or less producing what he felt that they should be. And somebody made a sales chart which graphed the metrics for each of his campaigns. The conflict with Eric started after the launch of Cyberfrog 3, which performed better than Cyberfrog 1, but not as well as Cyberfrog 2. Overall, we see that his campaigns are generally performing higher than when he first started, but not as well as he was shortly after Cyberfrog 2. That may also have something to do with the state of the economy. Cyberfrog 2 was launched in May of 2020. Back then, more people had money in their pockets, more people were also at home and watching YouTube. And in March, just 2 months prior, there were also stimulus checks giving everybody an extra $1,400. I'm sure that largely increased the amount of money people were throwing at crowdfunding campaigns. To me it seems, at least, that this hasn't really hurt his sales, but to know for sure we'd have to see what will happen when he launches Cyberfrog 4. So now you might be wondering, well, what's happened to Eric July's sales, and has this conflict hurt him? Let's take a quick look at what Ethan and Shane Davis have to say on a recent live stream.
So this is Trashcast. This is the effect. See these little tiny. This is the effect that Trashcast has had on Rippaverse.
Let's give you a little wiggle room. Let's say we don't know that.
That's what I would say though, because I would say that. I would say the effect that Trashcast has had on the Rippaverse is, I would take credit for this. And not just Trashcast, but also the critics. I would say all of us together, detractors.
I would say his bad comics caught up with him.
Yes, of course, but they would never have caught up with him if it wasn't for detractors saying, you guys aren't reading them. Read them. And then people reading them. And then detractors coming in and basically leveling the forest. I mean, that's what this looks like. You know what I mean? This looks like, the first half of the chart looks like Los Angeles 4 years ago. The second half looks like Los Angeles right now. Palisades. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All right. That's all I'm saying. So here is Geeks and Gamers. This is Jeremy coping.
It's dwindling massively. It used to actually have traction.
Hold on.
A whole fucking network of hate of him. And it's dwindling massively. It used to actually have traction, but it's on life support at this point in time. And
so we're on life support. Criticism of Eric July at this point is on life support, and Eric is soaring because we have I don't know, we're not effective anymore. Our criticism of him,
Ethan was eager to take credit for Eric's plummeting sales, something which Shane advised him not to do. The strange part to me is that once upon a time Ethan was actually rooting for Eric July. We can see this huge drop between ISOM 1 and 2, but Ethan actually predicted a much different outcome.
Alpha Suma for $20 says, please pass this to Eric. 3.7 is an odd number. I'd like to see him at 3.8. Well, thank you, but I'm going to keep your $20. And yes, I agree. I think he's going to get 4.2 with issue 2. That is my prediction.
He also predicted Yaira sales to be 2 million. They did manage to get 1.5, but it was mostly stagnant at 1.2 until Eric released a new statue. Overall, Eric's graph is much easier to interpret. Each project has resulted in declining sales. To me, it's clear this conflict has led to a decline in sales, but I actually thought it would affect Ethan more than it has. So while Ethan was scared after receiving that message from Rippa back in September of 2023, it seems that he actually had no reason to worry at all. Also, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, or...
You are a hoe ass